Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at how to identify proportional relationships. So a reminder, a proportional relationship has two properties. It has to have a constant unit rate and it has to pass through the origin 0, 0. If a relationship does not hold both of these properties, then it is not proportional. So these are the main things we have to make sure that it does. It has the constant unit rate, which means the unit rate is always the same, and that it would go through the origin 0, 0. So looking more carefully, if we're looking at a table of a proportional relationship has to have the same unit rate for each set of points. And again, it has to go through the origin 0, 0. If we're looking at a graph, it has to be a straight line. That means it has the same unit rate. And it has to go through the origin, 0, 0. And if we're looking at an equation of a proportional relationship, it has to be in the format y equals kx, where k is the constant of proportionality. So let's look at some examples now. Determine if the following are proportional. If it is proportional, identify the constant of proportionality and write an equation to represent the relationship. So we're looking at miles and dollars. So I'm going to first find my unit rate. So looking at the first column, I'm going to divide the dollars by the miles. So I'm dividing 5 by 2,500. Use my calculator to divide that out. It gives me 20. Then I have to do the same thing in the next column. I'm dividing the dollars by the miles. Use my calculator to divide it out. And this time I'm getting $12 per mile. The unit rate changed. So as soon as I see that the unit rate changes, that makes it not proportional. So this is not proportional. Because the unit rate changes. Okay, so as soon as you see the unit rate changes, you don't have to check the other columns, and you can say that it's not proportional. Okay, our next example, words and minutes. So I'm going to divide the words by the minutes. So I'm going to divide 250 by 5, and that would be 50 words per minute. Then I look at the next column, I'm going to divide 500 by 10. That's also 50. I'm going to then divide 750 by 15. That is also 50. And you do have to check every single column. So I would next divide 1,000 by 20, and that gives me 50 as well. And then 1,500 divided by 30, which is also 50. So my unit rate is always 50 words per minute. So my unit rate does not change. In this context, if I have to, I'm assuming, type 0 words, it would take me 0 minutes. So it would also pass through the origin. So a constant unit rate and going through the origin means that this is proportional. So this relationship is proportional. So because it is proportional, they told me to find the constant of proportionality, which was that unit rate. So my K is equal to 50. And now we have to write our equation. We're looking at words based on the minutes. So I'm going to let W be the number of words. And I'm going to let M be the number of minutes. And my equation would be W equals 50 times M. Okay, looking at our next example, we have a graph. So there's two things I have to check. The graph is a line, which it is, it's a straight line. And the graph has to also go through the origin 0, 0, which this graph does. So this is proportional. Because the graph is a straight line. And it passes through the origin 0, 0. So because of those two things, that makes this relationship proportional. So now my next job is to find the constant of proportionality. So my first thing would be to look at the unit rate when the x value is 1. But in this case, we would have to estimate. So that's not the best way to find the unit rate this time. So instead, I'm going to look for where the graph crosses perfectly through the grid. So looking at this ordered pair, it's the point 2, 3. So to find my constant of proportionality, I'm going to divide 3 by 2. Remember, you always divide the y by the x. So my constant of proportionality is 3/2, which is 1.5. So now I'm ready to make my equation. So if I look back at my variables, this is total number of books read and the number of months. So I'm going to use B for the number of books. I'm going to use M for the number of months. And my equation, the books is equal to the constant proportionality, 1.5, times M for the number of months. Okay, looking at our next example, I'm looking at the total kilometers that Leslie has cycled. When I look at the graph, I notice that it is a straight line, so that piece is good. But the problem is it does not start at the origin. It starts at the point 0, 2. So because it does not start at the origin, this is not proportional. So it is not proportional. Because the graph does not include, or we'll say the graph does not pass through zero, 0. Okay. Looking at an equation now, we have T equals 50Q. And remember, for an equation to be proportional, it has to be the format y equals kx. This equation is in that same format. They're just using t for the variable y, and they're using q for the variable x. So it is proportional. Because it has a constant unit rate. And passes through the ordered pair 0, 0. The constant of proportionality is the 50, the coefficient. And we don't have to write the equation because they gave us the equation to begin with. Our last example, y equals 2x minus 5. So when I look to see, can I write it in the form y equals a constant of proportionality times x? In this case, the problem is that minus 5 in the equation. if I were to put in 0 for x and see what y would be, I would get y equals 2 times 0 minus 5, which would become 0 minus 5 or negative 5. So that tells me that this graph would go through the point 0, negative 5, which is not the origin. So because of that minus 5 in the equation, that makes it not proportional. So it is not proportional. Because it does not pass through the origin 0, 0. I hope this video helps. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.